The weather is turning colder, but Great Lakes Hardball is heating up. My name is Jason Newsham, and I want to thank you for joining us tonight as we bring you the bottom of the ninth. Last week, we went one-on-one with Hall of Fame inductee Randy Morse. This week, we're going to go away from the individual inductees and focus on the teams that we're going to recognize the evening of January 11th. We're going to join our first guest when we return from a word from our sponsors. You are watching Bottom of the Ninth on Great Lakes Hardball Network.
At LaPorte Auto Depot, I was treated fairly and got a great deal on my car.
With my credit history, I never thought I would get a car. But at LaPorte Auto Depot, I was approved the same day.
At LaPorte Auto Depot, we'll finance anyone, regardless of credit. Mention you saw this ad and receive 10 free oil changes with your new car purchase.
Visit us on North Euclid in Bay City and drive home in a quality used car today.
And I want to welcome you back to the bottom of the ninth as we are going to preview the Peak Performance Major Champion from the Northwest Little League this evening. Right now with us, we have the manager of that team. We have Rob Fisher. Rob, thanks for coming with us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, what Peak Performance did this summer in the county tournament was something that hasn't been done ever. They are the first team to three-peat in the county tournament. There's been five different teams who have went back-to-back, and you are the first team to go back-to-back-to-back. What does that tell you about the type of players you guys are producing over at Northwest?
Well, when I first got in Little League, we weren't the dominant Little League. Southwest was. And a group of dads got together and we just started working hard with the kids, and those were the results.
Well, let's go back to 2013, the summer. We webcasted the games on the Great Lakes Hardball Network, and I was able to watch firsthand how you guys played the game. And to say you guys played hard is true. To say you guys played disciplined is true. But you did it in a way that it reminded me of old school baseball. So, you know, in terms of practicing and getting your guys ready, preparing them for the county tournament for the regular season, what was the mindset going in? Was it focused on strictly fundamentals?
Every year it's fundamentals. We work on defense for at least an hour every practice. Before we start in the spring, all the kids have been put in every possible situation that you could face on a baseball field.
There was one play that stands out, and it was a simple play. But after you watch the county tournament and you watch some of the teams from the other leagues, it wasn't a routine play, but it was a bunt down the third base line, and you had third base was R.J. Horning at that time. And first play that he had to make, and he made it look like he had made that play time and time again. And I think that was what had impressed me most, while I was announcing, was every player on your team made the routine play look routine. There was no sensationalism around a ground ball throw out from deep in shortstop, because you had two of the better shortstops that I've seen in the tournament with Tyler David and Nick Dardas. But they just made plays that had to impress you maybe didn't impress you because it was what you guys teach.
Yeah, exactly. They've been hit 1,000 ground balls. We work on defense, like I said, for the first hour of practice, and if I don't like the way it's going, we work on it the whole practice. Getting a kid that age to play defense, that's the key right there. They all like to hit. Defense, 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 that's what we preach.
In 2013, you played 3 games in the county tournament. Your first game was a game against Southwest representative Supreme Floor Covering. That game was 4-3. You guys won it. But let's go back to the 5th inning, the bottom of the 5th inning to be exact. You guys were clinging on to the lead. They put a couple runs up to take a 3-2 lead. You have a guy on second base named Tyler David who makes one of the headsy plays I've ever seen in a Little League level. He's on second base. The ball is a wild pitch. He scores from second base as turns out to be the game-winning run. Tell me about Tyler David. Tell me about that play. Tell me what was going through as he was rounding third base. Were you trying to stop him? Were you just understood that he understands the game?
Tyler is probably, since I've been coaching Little League, probably the best base runner I've ever. Aggressive. Sometimes I'm pulling my hair out. Sometimes it don't turn out the right way, but he's super aggressive, and he's probably the best base runner we've had in the 5 years I've coached Peak Performance.
So now he's turning into the Ozzie Puig of Peak Performance. I mean, that was just one play. Another play that really stands out. You got a great pitching performance from Nick Dardas that game. He went 4 2/3, struck out 10. But Southwest, that was the best team. The second best team, as it turned out, in the county tournament. Going into the Southwest-Northwest rivalry, were you expecting that close of a game and that type of a game?
Always. Yep. Against Southwest. I think we've played them every year in the county tournament. And only once can I remember it even being a blowout. The rest of them are all one-run games, two-run games.
As a baseball fan, and as I mentioned earlier, I would have much rather have had your two teams play a best-of-7 series and let the other teams from the other leagues just kind of, do it. And not to take anything away from them, but by far, watching your two teams, and Southwest deserves credit too. Another team that's fundamentally sound, well-rounded. They got solid players. They got good 12-year-olds, but they also had some good younger players. Right. So you beat them 4-3. You advance to what would essentially be the semifinal game against Tut Hills out of Northeast. You defeat them handily, setting yourself up for a championship game against Supreme Floor Covering in an event where they had to beat you twice.
Right.
One of the best Little League games I've seen. You seem to have been in a lot of these games with Southwest, so it may not have been the best game you've seen. But to recap, 0-0 going to the bottom of the 6th. You guys end up winning on a walk-off walk to win the county tournament.
Right.
Great pitching duel between David and Hayden Yachak from Southwest. What do you do to your guys? Tell your guys that as each inning goes by and opportunities start slipping and the margin for error becomes less.
Right. Just keep their heads up, keep battling. Most of the kids on that team, I shouldn't say most, the older kids on that team, they've all had big game experience. So I was pretty confident, especially I think it was the top of the 6th. Tyler David ran out of pitches, bases loaded. I brought Cody Regal in, and we got him out 1, 2, 3, and I felt then that the momentum had just shifted.
Yeah, no, that was big. Regal came in, and it could have went either way. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't get the ball of the infield after he came in. In that situation where you're talking momentum, and then of course you get to the bottom of the 6th, and Hayden Yachak is almost out of his Little League limit pitches, and he's facing Nick Dardas, and there's a decision there by Southwest as Hayden approaches the pitch number 82 to intentionally walk Nick. Next thing that happened was bewildering to most people who didn't know what was going on, but knowing that pitch count was Nick started swinging at the balls that were being intentionally walked. All the balls that were outside, he swung at 2 of them to get that pitch count up to 84, and then the final pitch on the intentional walk became 85. Yachak has to leave. They end up putting in Gavin Nagy to come in, the left-hander who faced you the first game, and he went 3-1, and he walks O'Hara, I believe it was O'Hara, to score David, Tyler. And that's the ball game. But
right.
Momentum changed. You guys were able to put in Regal, another 12-year-old.
Right.
How many 12-year-olds did you have on the team this year?
4.
4. We're going to be talking to 2 of the 12-year-olds later on in the show. So you're going to return quite a few kids coming back next year. I don't know how the Little League still works. So, you're going to have a draft.
I'll have 8 coming back.
8 coming back, and you got to draft 4 in the spring. And as far as the 11-year-olds coming up, is there any level of excitement, any level of understanding that when you play right now, in the now with Peak Performance at Northwest Little League, that there's an expectation that you're going to play a certain way?
I believe so. I believe there is. Like I said, we've been that was our 4th year in a row we were in the county tournament. The first year we were there, we lost to Southwest. I think it was by 2 runs, 7-5, and then we ran off to 3 consecutive. And I think by now we've got a good reputation, and there's a certain expectation.
Well, let's go back the 2 previous years. We didn't webcast. Tell us about a couple of the key players, key contributors for those 2 teams that helped.
I think our best team I've ever had was the 2012 team. We were, I believe, 27 or 28-0. Our statistician told me at the end of that year that we made 11 errors for the course of the season. And after he told me that, you got little league kids, 9 through 12. They made 11 errors that whole season, and that continued on into the 2013 season. And
how many kids in 2011 and 2012? How many 12-year-olds did you lose those years? How many kids have you put through there? Through your program?
I try to keep the roster no more than 4 12-year-olds on a team. That way,
okay.
I try to keep it 4, 4, and 4. 4 12-year-olds, 4 11-year-olds, and generally I take at least 2 9-year-olds. So between the 9 and 10-year-olds, I got 4 there too, and just try to keep the age groups fairly equal. That way, I'm not losing too many at one time. And
it's a different little league these days. We're talking about pitch counts. What is your take? You've had some solid pitching this year, especially. That pitch count in a situation where you're later on in the season, is that something that what are your thoughts on a pitch count?
Oh, I like it. I do. I mean, I think it's in the best interest of the kids because we're only playing Little League baseball. They got their whole careers ahead of them. And there's some strategy there. I mean, there's points in a game where, okay, he's at 35 pitches, he's not looking good, or he is looking good, or the game's tight, and are we going to keep going with them? I mean, that's something we discuss in the dugout every inning. Where's he at? I talk to Coach Dardas or Coach David. I mean, we're always kicking things around, bouncing things off each other, what we're going to do. Trying to think 2 innings ahead.
Well, for you folks that are following along, the Little League pitch count is what we're talking about, and can you explain to?
Well, there's certain in the pitch count. Say for 11 and 12-year-old, they can pitch 85 pitches in a game. 1 through 20, if you pull them at 20 or below 20, you can come back pitch the next day. 21 to 35, he needs 1 day's rest, and so on and so on.
Is it 1 day or 1 game?
1 day.
1 day. Okay. I know it's changed a ton, and they were trying to figure out. Yeah. Back
when we played, I think it was innings, and then I had to go on games rest.
I think we had 7 or 8 innings a week
right.
we could throw, and as some of the kids found out, that could have meant anywhere from 175 to 200 pitches a week.
Right.
It was different. I mean, baseball was different back when we were younger. Kids still don't know what the rectangle box on the outside of the school here is. It's a strikeout. You have to tell kids, strikeout is what we used to do in the morning. You used to get up, get a tennis ball, get a bat, and go play strikeout. Yeah, it's fun watching kids, listening to kids who aren't used to it. They've got their structure a lot different. You talked about these kids being in big games. Previous to the championship game and being in these tight games, talk to us about what else are they doing? What else are your players doing?
Well, as far as
travel ball or just bettering themselves.
Usually half of my team plays travel ball, whether it's for one of the local travel organizations, and the other half don't.
Yeah. So they get a chance to go out and I know some of the teams have gone to Cooperstown. Some of the teams have played in regionalized tournaments. Anytime you're getting extra baseball is a good thing.
I agree.
I don't think, and I think as they play and develop that instinctual aspect of the game, because you can be instinctual in baseball and have some extra talent and be more talented, I guess, if you have that instinct. Quick on the base path, knowing how to get your footwork set. Getting your feet set before you get the grounder to make the throw to first. A lot of times when you're teaching that, a lot of times kids see it on TV and they think it's that easy, and just doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it makes it become the repetition aspect of it, and that muscle memory and location and body location. And you guys definitely had it. I was impressed with the way you guys played, performed. You hit the ball well in that second game. You put it all over the place. Against Supreme, you had 5 hits the first game, 4 hits the second game, so it was a lot tighter. But you could definitely see the swings fundamentally. I mean, you could look at it and realize that you're facing a pretty good pitcher. You face Nagy, then you face Yachak. You're not going to get a lot of hits off of those guys, and you got to be happy and when you can get them. And a couple of the guys we're going to bring in later did get hits, several of them throughout the tournament. And we're going to be back after this brief moment. Another word from our sponsor. You're watching the bottom of the ninth on the Great Lakes Hardball Network.
At LaPorte Auto Depot, I was treated fairly and got a great deal on my car.
With my credit history, I never thought I would get a car. But at LaPorte Auto Depot, I was approved the same day.
At LaPorte Auto Depot, we'll finance anyone, regardless of credit. Mention you saw this ad and receive 10 free oil changes with your new car purchase.
Visit us on North Euclid in Bay City and drive home in a quality used car today.
And I want to welcome you back to the bottom of the ninth. Right now we're going to bring in two special guests from the Peak Performance Major League team that played down at Northwest, that was the current three-time champion of the county tournament. We got Nick Dardas and Tyler David. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
These two guys, the 12-year-olds from this past year's Peak Performance team, and after we webcast the game and got a chance to watch these guys play throughout the tournament, it became pretty apparent that you guys are playing this game of baseball at a very high level. The two of you specifically did things that I seen, whether it was on the mound, whether it was at the plate, on the base path, even in the field, that really stood out as you look like you enjoyed the game, you look like you're passionate about the game, and you look like you're having fun. I'm going to start with you, Tyler. Give me a moment in the county tournament that was it the championship game where you scored the winning run on the walk? Was it the game where you scored from second base? What was your key moment from that tournament?
I think it was when I hit the double in the top of the sixth in the championship game, and then I came around and scored later on. You
also pitched a whale of a game. Nothing from the mound aspect stands out for you?
Yeah, I thought I pitched pretty good.
You were pitch limited. You threw 85 pitches. You threw 55 strikes. You struck out 13. Did you, going into the game, knowing you were going to start that game, were you feeling something that morning when you got up, probably around 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
No, I just got up like normal and focused like I would usually as a normal game.
So you just approached it that way. Well, that's good. Nick, give me a moment from the tournament that stood out for you.
Probably being on second base, watching that final pitch go into the mitt, knowing that we did it, we won it.
Nick was perfect for the tournament at the plate. Now, granted, he walked a ton of times because you're obviously a feared hitter, and it was kind of to your advantage, Tyler, to your advantage to have Nick in your lineup because they were pitching to you, trying to get you out to avoid pitching to him. You batted almost 700 for the tournament, so that didn't work. And then when they got the Dardas, they either walked him or you got a base hit. Tell me about your guys' lineup in general that made you guys understand how good you were.
We were able to start it with him as a contact hitter that could hit it out of the park, but had the base running skills of anyone in town. And then bring it to me, who could drive him in.
You could. I mean, your balls, if they weren't going flying out of the park, you were lining shots all over the park. Tyler, tell me about. Let's go back to the first game of the tournament when you guys played Supreme Floor Covering. You're playing Southwest. You're approaching it as an everyday game. Nick got to start that game. You were the shortstop that game. Made a couple nice plays out there from shortstop. Let's take us back to the bottom of the fifth inning when you got on and you were at second base. And what goes through your mind on the base path?
I don't know. Every time I get on base, I just think of scoring and trying to find a way to score.
Mm-hmm. So you had a chance at second base. The ball goes past the catcher, and you're rounding third base. Now the game's tied. They just went ahead at the top of the fifth. Now the game's tied. Now you're risking, the game potentially. And you're just all you're thinking is scoring.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's an aggressive mindset, and it's one of those things where it made you fun to watch. calling the games. I mean, I became a fan of peak performance. I became a fan of Supreme Floor Coverage. I mean, those two teams were by far head and shoulders above the other teams in the area this summer, and it just made me a fan to watch you guys play the way you did. Nick, in that first game, you go 4 2/3, strike out 10, got to your pitch count again. Tell me as a pitcher, what are you thinking of? Do you know your pitch count? Do you know what your numbers are going out each inning?
Yeah, but you're still just getting outs. That's the key. You get outs, you can get through things. You hit your spots, you hit strikes.
Well, you went 85 pitches through 52 strikes that first game, and then you gave way to Tyler. Tyler came in for the last inning and a third. Got credit for the win. It's one of those things where your team got the win. You pitched a whale of a game, and you gave way to Tyler and let him do his thing. You guys went from 10-year-olds the first year that you won this tournament. What was the difference from as a 10-year-old to now as a 12-year-old? Experience-wise for those 3 years.
We were always having the 12-year-olds were always the leaders that we had, and as we went, we became more of leaders. And when we hit 12 years old, it was kind of one of those things where we knew our role and we had to fulfill it to get the expectations of the people that had came upon us.
Okay.
We're already through.
So they led you, and then you became 12, and then you became the leader. Tyler, any experiences from being 10-year-old? Do you remember your 10-year-old year?
Yeah. We just looked up to the bigger kids, and then we tried to follow what they did.
Now, were you guys contributors on as 10-year-olds in your first year?
Yeah.
So you got what? Can you tell me what you guys did that first year? Do you remember what you did, tournament-wise? Did you pitch? Did you?
I caught. I remember the home run you gave up to Heinzman.
Yeah.
That's good memory for the other team.
This kid was about probably 6'1" and hit one over 300 feet to dead center. And it was just one of those things where you just jaw-dropping.
But you won.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we won. We won. But it was one of those things where you were, wow.
Did he just do that?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Any memories for your own team besides winning?
I remember in I believe it was the finals, we had guys on first and second, and I came up against Cody Freed, who was throwing hard and throwing good. And I laid down a bunt down the third base line. I ended up getting out at first base, but we had guys on second and third with one out.
So you moved the runners, did what your coach asked you. We talked to your coach earlier. He talked about the fundamentals. Is that something, before you got to Coach Fisher, you both are in athletic families. You both have been playing different sports, a variety of sports for a while. Fundamentals are key to every sport. What is it about baseball that attracted you at a younger age?
The fact that you can be a leader and really work as a team to accomplish something. Oh, fundamentals are really the key.
Right. Tyler?
I just wanted to do something in the summer, and then I got hooked on baseball and started playing.
So if hunting season was in the summer, would you be a hunter or a baseball player?
I'd probably do both if I could.
Well, the good news is you don't have to make that choice. You can do your hunting now, which I'm sure you're getting ready to go do. Nick's in the middle of basketball season. Being a part of a championship team is one thing. Being a part of a dynasty is another thing. What has that done? Winning in baseball and being a part of a winning tradition and winning program. What has that done for you in other things?
At practices and just in our team in general, we learned that if you want to do things well, you're going to show up early and you're going to work hard the entire time you're there. That's something that I can speak for everyone that has ever played for peak performance. You're going to learn that you're going to show up early, you're going to work hard the entire time, and that's something that you're going to carry with you the rest of your life.
So Tyler, you play hockey. You've been a part of this championship team for a couple of years now. Tell me about what you're able to apply that you've learned through baseball into your hockey.
Well, all the teamwork we use from baseball, I apply to hockey, and it's made me a more complete and team player.
You're a center for the team, so you're on the ice quite a bit. Do you ever notice, going into something, the way you're preparing? Do you prepare the same for hockey as you do for baseball?
Yeah, I prepare more kind of for a hockey game because I get to the rink a lot earlier than the baseball game.
You guys win the county tournament. You're the first team in the history of the county having the county championship to three-peat. Then you guys joined the 12-year-old All-Star team for Northwest. You guys have to go through your nemesis, Saginaw North. You're able to, you play them, you get defeated by them to put you in the loser bracket. And then Southwest, your local rival does you a favor by knocking Saginaw North out and then puts them into the losers bracket. So you get Saginaw North coming off of a loss, and now you guys get a chance to take advantage of that. So you defeat them for the first time, if I'm not mistaken, first time in your guys' years of playing All-Stars. Now you got Southwest twice. Tell me about the prospects going into to that first game, Tyler.
Well, from Wood League, from Peak, we've, like, all the 12-year-olds has been team players, and the younger kids look up to you. But since they were all 12-year-olds, they mostly knew what to do, and they looked up to a couple certain players that took the team on and helped other kids out. And
the games weren't even close. I mean, do you remember the scores of those games?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, the amount of runs you guys put up. Nate, you had a couple of home runs in the championship game against Southwest. Was that, or was it you, Tyler? Did one of you guys have a couple of home runs in that final game when you scored, I think, 26 runs?
I had one.
And Adam Randall had 2, and that was huge. He contributed a lot.
It was one of those things where if you give up 11 runs in an All-Star final game, usually you're on the short end of the stick. I believe you guys gave up 11 runs, but you scored 26. At what point did you start realizing that the ball was flying out special that day?
I think when we hit it was mid-4th inning. We had, it was actually 16-8 at the time, I believe. And we were up to bat, and I looked at my dad, and he said 5 more runs. I got back to the dugout, and we had scored 3. And we ended up batting through a whole nother time, and I got next to my dad. He goes, 5 more runs. So, and that, when we realized that we did that, that was kind of a special thing.
Yeah, well, it was a special thing indeed. You defeated Southwest twice. You had to do it in Saginaw, so you defeat them twice. You go to Ishpeming, where you guys you had a chance, really, to advance your game to the regional. Down in Indianapolis. Tell me about the experience up there, up in Ishpeming.
It's different. I mean, it's a lot of rolling hills. You see a lot of woods, but it's cool.
A lot of woods and then some water.
Yeah.
There's a big lake up there.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Every night, by the end of the tournament, we realized that it was a tradition we went and swam every night the night before the game. First night before our game, we wanted to go swimming, so we did. Next game, we did. Before the third game, which was the last game of pool play, we did not. We ended up going on to lose that game. So, us being the superstitious, stupid little kids that we are,
you said it.
We went on to become swimmers. We went and swam every night, and that became a little.
So the swimming tradition for Northwest Little League. Well, if in a situation that you weren't able to pull off the state championship, at least you were able to pull off the idea that you can go swim the 50-yard butterfly. Is that what? Is that what you're feeling?
Throw balls at each other in the water.
Throw balls. Now swimming Lake Superior in July sounds like a enticing idea. If you're a polar bear. How cold was the water?
It was chilly.
Well, it never warms up, so chilly is probably warm considering.
Yeah, it was, but it was fun. We had fun with it.
You know, I remember going into your last game of pool play, and that was the one game that we weren't able to update folks on our Facebook page. And you know, part of me watching you guys go through the Little League, the county tournament, and knowing the players you were playing with, I was confident that you would end up winning that game. I didn't realize that you didn't go swimming, or else it would have, all bets were off. But you know, the reality of it is you guys had a great run. You were defeated in the final game in the state championship game, 1-0 by Grosse Pointe.
Grosse Pointe Park.
Grosse Pointe Park.
Or Grosse Pointe Wood Shores, I'm sorry.
Grosse Pointe Wood Shores, who won the regional tournament down in Indianapolis and advanced to the Little League World Series. Watching those guys on TV, you know, I mean, you guys were that close. You have any regrets about it?
No, none at all. We did what we could, and I mean, they had one lucky swing, and I hate to call it lucky, but
you did twice.
That's, I believe, what happened.
Well, how many hits did you give up that game?
They had 2 hits.
2 hits, and you know, it was a tough loss, but you know, if you look back in your summer, you got to be happy. You got to smile. You got trophies. You got memories, and really, that's what we're creating and trying to create for you guys. We want to enhance the baseball game in the Great Lakes Bay region, and you guys are doing that on a daily basis, on a nightly basis, and basically on a summerly basis. You know, now you're taking your games up to the Pony League level. I know you guys are playing travel ball for. You both are playing travel ball still. Yep. And Tyler, you play for.
Lumbermen right now.
Lumbermen, and Nick, you play for?
River Dogs.
River Dogs, okay. So I'm sure you guys will cross each other's paths as opponents sooner or later. But we want to wish you guys the best of luck as you guys advance the Point League, your travel ball season. Enjoy your hockey season, enjoy your basketball season. But just know that spring's right around the corner. And before too long, the championship tradition of peak performance will be back on the field down at Northwest Little League. I'm Jason Newsham. I want to thank you for joining us tonight on the bottom of the ninth.